Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada.
Nitai Ga Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Hare Ba, Bala Hare Ba.
Jai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol.
Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Parivrajakacarya Astotra Satat Sistema, the divine grace, his confounded child. Srila Abhaycha Navinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa, Parivrajakacarya Astotra Satat Sistema, the divine grace, the Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Harirasa Ki Jai. Prem Si Kahao Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadhara Sivasani Si Gora Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Sisi Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Yamakunda Radha Kunda Girikavadana Ki Jai. Savindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Si Mayapanavadip Dham Ki Jai. Si Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai. Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Jai. Gangamai Yamunamai Ki Jai. Srimati Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to the sum of the devotees. All glories to Sisi Gaura and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So this afternoon, Sunday class is going to be from the Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is a popular, very popular text, popular verse. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 66. Text 66 is one of the first texts we study to be able to quote when we're preaching to somebody. Surrender to Krishna. So, today we're going to see how we can dissect this whole phenomenon or concept of surrender and how it brings peace to the devotee who is giving their life to Krishna. How does that work? I can surrender. Bring peace to people, or to the world, or to the community, or to the family. It's tricky because if someone says, I'm surrendering to Krishna, and you have a wife and 3 kids, little kids. So I'm surrendering to Krishna. I just leave the house and surrender to Krishna, you know. I just leave the house and surrender to Krishna because that is the process of watering the root of the tree. What are the root of the tree? The fruits, the branches, the twigs, the flowers, the leaves, everything flourishes. Therefore, I take a short route, a shortcut. No, it doesn't work like that, okay? It doesn't work like that, okay? I remember I went to one country, I don't want to mention the name of the country, but one gentleman, his wife came to complain to me after giving a class. The wife came to me and she was in anxiety, you know. Actually, this is serious. This is not something created. The wife came to me and what was her complaint? She said that she's hearing rumors that the husband is about to take to Bonaparte. The husband wants to surrender to Krishna fully. So, okay, he wants to leave the house and surrender to Krishna fully. So I had to placate her that, you don't worry, Mataji. The system is different in ISKCON now. So your husband is your property for life. So I said, except you give him the permission, the GBC will want to see a letter from you that your husband has provided you with very good house, not apartment, very good house. Provided with a good house, good infrastructures like cars and all those things. So, and you would have to write a letter to the GBC that he has given him permission, he has satisfied you with all these social infrastructures, he has provided with all of this stuff, and you have allowed him to go and take to Bonaparte and to take sannyas. I said, other than this, he is your property for life. So that apprehension was doused off completely. You know? You like that idea, no? Who don't like that idea? Come on. Because in the past, we have been using Krishna as a facade to abuse women and children. There are some cases in our movement in the early days where someone has a baby and then he just abandoned the wife and the baby and then he takes sannyas. This time, things have changed. It's not like that. So I told the lady, don't worry. Oh, she began to beam with smile. You know, our countenance changed. So today we're going to hear about this concept of surrender, how it brings peace, but not this way of trying to create some hurt or some bad feelings to someone, and you feel that, you'll be happy by doing that. So what is surrender? So we're going to take this text, what Krishna says, what he meant by surrender, and then we're going to go also we're going to dissect that text, the different angles or the different limbs of surrender. We have limited time, so let's go straight to the issue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sarva Dharma Parityajya. Sarva Parityajya. Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Moksha Yeshyami Masuchaha. Moksha Yeshyami Masuchaha. Sarva Dharma Parityajya. Sarva Dharma Parityajya. Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Moksha Yeshyami Masuchaha. Moksha Yeshyami Masuchaha. Sarva Dhamma Parityajya. Sarva Dhamma Parityajya. Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Mamekam Saranam Vraja. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Aham Tvam Sarva Papebhyo. Moksha Yeshyami Masuchaha. Moksha Yeshyami Masuchaha. Can someone try it?
Sarva dharmam parityajya.
Sarva dharmam parityajya.
Mamekam sharanam vraja.
Mamekam sharanam vraja.
Aham tvam sarva papebhyo.
Aham tvam sarva papebhyo.
Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Aham Tvam Sarva Dharma Parityajya.
Sarva dharma parityajya. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Ladies?
Sarva dharma parityajya. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
Any more ladies?
Sarva dharma parityajya. Mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Mokshayishyami ma shuchaha.
So what for what translation? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace is Compounded Church, the A.C. Bhakti Vasudeva Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sarvadharman, all varieties of religion. Parityaja, abandoning, man, unto me, ekam, only, saranam, for surrender, vraja, go, aham, I, tvam, you, sarva, all, papebhyaha, from sinful reactions, moksha yishyami, will deliver, ma, do not, suchaha, worry. Translation: abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Please kindly responsibly repeat. Abandon all varieties of religion. And just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Papa, the Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and processes of religion, knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Supersoul, knowledge of the different types of orders and statuses of social life, knowledge of the renounced honor of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways that different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions. For the Lord personally promises to protect him. In the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is free from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him. The process of surrender to Krishna is in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 11.676. Anu kulas sankalpa prati kulas vajanam. Rakshishyati vishvaso goptritve varanantata. Atmanikshe na kampanye sadvida saranagata. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order. But if by executing his duty, one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to one to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider himself. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis of his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from all unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all simple reactions. One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all-powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some of them are attracted to the super soul feature, etc. The one who is attracted to the personal feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself is the most perfect transcendentalist. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of the whole Bhāgavat Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists. The one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here are suchaha, don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna. But such worry is useless. Om Gyana Timirandasya Gyanadanam Salakaya Sakso Manitam Yena Tasma Sri Guruve Namaha Sachaitaya Manodistam Stafitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamaya Dadati Swa Padantika Vancha Kalpatari Vicha Kripasula Patitanam Vaishnavi Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nitinam Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesha Swami Bhadi Patsatya Visatari Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadada Sri Vasanta Gaura Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama. So, welcome everyone to this Sunday feast. This segment of the Sunday feast is not always very attractive because it has to do with sitting down and listening to philosophy. And you know what? If you go to any university and check on the admission records, the people who register for philosophy in every year, in most universities, people who go to study philosophy, they're very few because philosophy involves cracking of your brain, cracking of your head. People don't want all this type of deep thinking processes. They want so 1 + 1 is equals to 2. You get your answer, and then you can get your money straight away. Not to be creative, not to be deep thinkers. No. But that is the problem we have in this present time because people do not think deeply, and therefore we're not able to resolve even our own little differences amicably. We don't think deeply. So, in this text, Lord Krishna is emphasizing here that we should give up on the other processes of trying to, placate the devatas or try to worship the forefathers. And there are many types of religious principles, religious ideologies. And we keep changing, we change from Hinduism to Christianity. And when Hindus, when they choose to become Christians, you don't have to blame them, Our system is too rigid. I'll give you an example. If, we have 4 regulatory principles. So remove illicit sex, from this regulatory principle. You will not have a place for people to sit in this hall. Is it correct? The two rigid principles. Too many rules, okay? And so some of the people who are even born in Hindu families, they think this is too much. Let's become Christians. And or they choose to become Muslim. And in India, you find India is just a wonderful place whereby, you have all this. So in some part of Delhi is preoccupied by Muslims. And the Muslims, there is no all these restrictions, You can have as many wives as you want. And you can have as many children as you want. Okay? So people want to live a coquette-free life, then they choose another religion. They don't want to become Hare Krishnas. Even sometimes we find our devotees, people born in this movement, they say, no, I don't like your religion. I want to be a free thinker. So Krishna is mentioning here, he's actually encouraging us. He said that we should surrender and we should not have any fear of surrendering because it's there, it's available for us. And essential point is that when we surrender to Krishna, we are peaceful. How is that? Because the only reason that we are always fearful and in anxiety is because we've been haunted by sinful reactions. You see, even the animal, when they're crossing the road, say a deer is crossing the road. I don't know, I never saw any deer since I came to Denmark. But, in Washington, D.C., especially in the Maryland area, places like Potomac, where we have our temple, you will see deers all over the place. They're crossing the road, and if you're not careful, you can get into an accident because the deers, they move like, as if the whole city belongs to them. They just freely move. Nobody kills them. So, but then the deer, the important factor is that the deer, when they're crossing the road, they don't just move majestically. They jump out because they are afraid. We are also afraid. Fear is a common denominator of conditioned life. Why are we afraid? Why are we fearful? Because we're being haunted by sinful reactions. And we are thinking subtly on the subtle plane. We know that we're being haunted by sinful reactions. And so we are always fearful. And so we are not happy. We are not at peace with ourselves. You see, even these high-profile, rich people, they're not at peace. In fact, their own apprehensions and fears are even deeper and more horrific than the person who is just an average citizen. So, if we surrender to Krishna, Krishna takes away all of these fears, takes away all of these reactions, sinful reactions from past lives. And not only that, in the Chaitanya Bhagavat is explained, the discussion between Pundarik Vidyanidhi and Garapandi. There is an explanation. Pundarik Vidyanidhi was providing some insight on how if someone becomes a devotee, you may not be a Paramahamsa. Just by being a devotee, following the regulative principles strictly, chanting at least 16 rounds every day, and rendering service in the Gaudiya Vaishnava system. You have 10 generations before you and after you who will be given an opportunity to become liberated. Now you tell me, if you become the Prime Minister of Denmark or the President of Denmark, and you are so rich, in fact, when you die, it's all trouble, you know. People will fight. If you have children, sometimes your relatives will drive your children away. They want to take the money. If you forgot to write a will. So we do not see any avenue where someone or family members can benefit like devotional service. So the surrender that is bringing peace and joy to the individual, to the surrendee, it extends beyond that to family members who may even be antagonistic to your involvement in Krishna consciousness. Not all family members find it very happy. I mean, they are not very. Some family members are not very happy when they see their kids become involved in devotional service. Some are happy if they understand. Yeah, so there's a lot of benefit. That's the bottom line. There's a lot of benefit that extend beyond the individual. And if one becomes a Madhyam Adhikar, 14 generations before you and after you become eligible for liberation. And if you are Uttam Adhikar, 21 generations. So no matter how much money, if even you become the richest man on the planet, the richest man on the planet does not reap the rewards of someone who is surrendered to Krishna. The richest man on the planet, when they die, it's all legal complication that the families will be entrenched in. Because someone is fighting to get the money, another person is fighting to get the resources, the properties, and all this, and the companies. They become the CEO of the company or whatever. So, yes, money is good. We're not saying that don't struggle to get money. Money is good. But even above the happiness that money is going to give you is Krishna consciousness. Because the Krishna consciousness is a means of giving you a leverage and your family a leverage that facilitates the emancipation from the clutches of repeated birth and death. And there is no financial resources you may accumulate that will award you that opportunity, that will award family members that opportunity. So giving at least our strength, our energies to Krishna should be a priority. A priority in the sense that even our strength comes from Krishna. We work so hard. We are very smart. You're very smart. I may not be very smart. You are very smart. But even your smartness is coming from Krishna. He made you to be smart. So the unfortunate thing is that people tend to forget that devotional service or surrender to Krishna awards them a lot of virtues. And the world is full of vices. Now we find that the people who are even so rich, they get into trouble. They get into trouble. I was just sharing with the devotees the places I went a couple of days ago, how 2 lawmakers in America, they lost their jobs. two lawmakers. They resigned almost the same day. And when you attain those high-profile positions, oh, you're so popular all over the country. Anywhere you go, you're a hero. People worship you like a god, like a demigod. Oh, here is Congressman such and such. Here's a Congresswoman such and such. You are known all over the three worlds. But just one day, beep, everything is finished. Everything is finished. So what type of wealth is that? That would just fame and adoration, distinction, that it goes off just in a click, but not so juicy in a way. It's just full of bitterness. Because you bring a disgrace to your family, you bring a disgrace to your constituency, you bring a disgrace to your state. So from Washington back to your state with shame, bitterness, rancor. And that is when people fail to incorporate devotional service in their professional development. See, we're not saying people should not struggle to get big positions. Don't misquote me. I am not the type who says, don't work hard. No, I say work hard like hell. But put Krishna at the center. Otherwise, it's so easy to get into trouble. I've seen so many people who get into trouble. And so, surrender is a process where we can be joyful. Krishna mentions that it's performed joyfully, susukam avyayam, inexhaustibly joyful. You don't find something that is inexhaustibly joyful on this planet. Even the best food you eat, it could be so juicy, you could enjoy it so much, but it's not inexhaustibly juicy. Because if you just have a quota to take, and if you go beyond that quota, oh, you get into trouble. But this devotional service, there is no quota. It's unlimited. You hearing this? Okay? You. Yeah. There is no limit. You can always relish this devotional service as you go on with your professional values. So the process of surrender entails that we do what is favorable to our devotional service. We do what is favorable. Whatever that is favorable to our devotional service, we take it. If having a family is going to facilitate your spiritual growth, do that. And sometimes people think, oh, I cannot be a brahmachari. I want to marry. But to marry is more difficult than being a brahmachari. To be a grihastha is more difficult than being a brahmachari. The people don't seem to understand that. Now, let's be clear. Anyone can marry, okay? Everybody cannot be a grihastha. To be a grihastha is more difficult than being a brahmachari. In fact, to my own estimation, it is even more valuable, more of a high-profile position than being a sannyasi. Let me explain. Sannyasis and brahmacharis, they don't have to deal with sense gratification. They don't have sense gratification around it. But then the real grihastha, the real married person who is a practitioner of Krishna consciousness, it's like someone who is fasting on Ekadasi, for instance. You fast on Ekadasi now? Okay. You fast on Ekadasi, and then in your room there are 64 dishes. You have the best preparations. that you like most? They have lined up in your room where you have to sleep, where you have to do your japa, where you have to do your reading for that Ekadasi. That type of fasting, if you go through it, you're a real sadhaka. A grihastha is like that person who is fasting, and there are so many delicious dishes surrounding him, and he's so detached. That is more difficult than a person who will say, I am fasting, but they don't have anything to eat anyway. So, the point is that let's understand what Krishna wants us to do, and we should do that. And what helps in guiding us? The spiritual master, Guru, Sadhu, Sastra. In fact, anyone can surrender unto Krishna. We see, I like giving an example of Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Bhakti Vinod Thakur had a big family of over 10. He had over 10 children. He was a judge, magistrate. And at the same time, he is one of our acharyas. You don't need to give up your job to become a Paramhamsa. And then, someone could just point accusing fingers to me and say, but oh, Swami, what about you? I remember I was in Argentina 2023, and the devotee who invited me to come, he said I should speak to the young devotees who are in college, who are in the university, and who are professionals who are working. I should encourage them to go higher in their profession or go higher in their studies. So I agreed, and that's one of the things I do most cases when I travel out. So I was speaking with these devotees, and there was one lady there, she teaches Bhakti Sastri. That was in Buenos Aires. She teaches Bhakti Sastri. And then I was encouraging them after the whole discussion, I was encouraging them that you're still young, so try to go, if you finish your first degree, think of going for a master's. If you have a good GPA, if you finish your master's, you have a good GPA, you can think of going for a PhD. And then if you are working, try to see how you take certification exams to increase the quality of your job so that you can get some higher position. So after giving all of this advice, during the question and answer, one of the attendees, they said she teaches Bhakti Sastri. I don't know her educational qualification, but she raised an issue with all of my advice. She said, Maharaja, you are advising us to go higher in our studies and to go engage in professional development activities that will leverage our positions. But what about you? She told me this. She told me this. What about you? So I said, I have a PhD in applied management and decisions from World University in the United States. And if I don't have the skills, I wouldn't have the guts to come and encourage you to go higher. Because I know the value of those higher skills in helping to leverage preaching. And she was surprised. She said, wow. Because, in our movement, in most cases, people preach that you don't need to go to school, you just chant Hare Krishna and be happy and all this stuff. But my Guru Maharaj was not like that. In fact, he forced me to go to preach to professors. He forced me to go get a PhD. So what basically done on her was that somebody was giving them an advice, and it's based on what he has experienced. And I tell young people that instead of working like an ass, and get a P note. Aim high. Aim high, get high skills, you work less, you get more money, you have more time for Krishna, you have more time for your family. That's it. I met one guy, I was staying with him when I visited their community in Ohio. So he had like 3 master's degrees. So I was chastising him that, why you have to waste the time to do all these master's degrees? She said, oh, Maharaj, all of these masters, they're connected with my job. And now they made me a director. So I don't go to work. I just stay at home and make telephone calls and tell somebody, go to this state or go to this country or go to this place. And I stay at home, take care of my preaching. He preaches to corporates. So he explained this to me. I thought, wow, you're really very smart. So let's not miscue that surrender means you do nothing and you're waiting for Krishna to throw halava and sweet balls from Goloka to you. Have you ever seen anybody that, Krishna threw halava and sweet balls from Goloka to them? Because they are surrendered. So we have to do the needful and let Krishna help us to do the rest. Okay? Any comments or questions? Yes, any comments or questions? It's a simple program, a simple talk. We have been hearing of surrender. Yes, Mataji. Yeah, we need to be guided. For instance, I give an example. I was guided, okay? So my spiritual master ordered me. In fact, he gave me orders that, ordinarily speaking, I could say, Guru Maharaj, this is impossible, okay? But I trusted in his words, and I acted accordingly. And sometimes the results come in ways that I least expected. So my point, be guided by superior thinking power. Be guided by the Guru. So I remember also some of my disciples, one of them in New York, she's the white lady, she's a lawyer. And so when she met me, she had a master's degree, she was a legal practitioner going to court and freeing people. So I looked at her, she was she's a very intelligent person. So I said, instead of sitting down there with a master's degree, you could go and get a PhD. Anyway, but as lawyers do, they're very good in argument, So she argued back and forth and all this stuff. I said, well, but that'll be to your own benefit. She came from a Christian background, so when she became involved in devotional service, her family was not very much favorable to the idea because of Christianity to Hinduism. So, but then when she went ahead and finished the doctorate program, her mother became so favorable to devotional service, she wanted to connect with me. Her younger sister became so favorable to devotional service, she wanted to connect with me. So it's a subtle way of preaching also when people, when you become a top shot, everybody likes you. You have many fans. So in the family, it's also like that. If you have a good position, people will hear your advice. Okay? But then the point is that we miscue in the past by telling people not to study, by telling people not to do anything. But see, I can go into so many places that the traditional Swami and traditional Guru cannot go. I'll give you an example. I went to Bangladesh in 2023. So I went to Bangladesh with the idea, I was in India at the time during the COVID. I went there with the idea that I had to come back to India because I need to renew my visa. I wouldn't have to go back to the United States before I come back to India. So, but then devotees were not being allowed to enter Bangladesh. So you know what I did? I put on a suit. And I flew in, okay? And then when I went in, when I went in, this immigration guys were harassing me all over the place. What did you come to do here? I said, I'm a research fellow. Hey, check on my website. This is my website, Dr. Vasudeva Das. Check my website. So they left. Then later they came back and said, all right, we've checked your website. Don't get too excited. Go. So it saves you a lot from trouble, you know. The places that the religious people are being rejected, I can walk in as a research fellow and still do my job as a Swami. So it's a matter of understanding the needs of the time and being able to do things according to Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra, and you will not be entangled. I met one lady, she's a Russian lady. I met her in Berlin. That was last year or so. I met her in Berlin, and someone introduced her to me. So she's a scientist. She has a master's degree in some science field. Very, very intelligent lady, intelligent devotee. But then she has this type of mindset, you know, that when you go to study, you become entangled. So I said, I also studied, okay? But, you know, I'm using my skills for Krishna. So we should do away with this apprehension that, you know, when we work hard, then we will get entangled. No, it's not true. If we should not use devotional service as a facade to embrace poverty, to embrace laziness. No. In fact, I have a policy. I can't change the rules in ISKCON. I can't change the way people behave and preach in ISKCON, but I have a policy. Anybody who's coming close to me must follow my policy. You know my primary policy? You want initiation from me? Apart from the 4 regulative principles, a bachelor's at least. Yeah. So when I was in Argentina, so one professor, he was asking me, Maharaja, what are the requirements for you to accept someone as a disciple? I said, why are you asking me? You already initiated. What are you asking me for? She said, for others. I said, so I told him this, that apart from the 4 regulative principles, you need to have at least a bachelor's. So he asked me, oh, you don't need many disciples. You don't want many disciples. I said, many disciples for what? So, the bottom line is that we should think of how to reach out to high-profile people. The high-profile people, they are not walking on the streets. They are in their cars, in their cozy offices. Except you have your kids on that level, they will be able to contact them. And when you have your kids on that level, they don't need to preach to them. They have their skills, their degrees, and they have values. They have ethical values, moral values that they struggle with. I was just mentioning at the beginning of the class how 2 legislators in America, they lost their jobs because of devotional bankruptcy. They have lost their moral compass, and so they got them thrown out. So going high in a profession, in your skills development, is not a barrier to your Krishna consciousness. Okay? Yes, the next step is, I think, the japa session or something like that? Yes. Okay, so we can get to that. And if you you have a question and you're not able to ask during this short period, I'll hang out here a little while after the class. You can see me, okay, and ask your, get the clarifications. Ask your questions. Yes. How many of you are familiar with this chanting Hare Krishna? I'm familiar with this chanting. Okay, very good. These beads that you keep in the temple, they are very good. Sometimes I come out from the room and then I see someone pick up the beads. Someone came from the temple and then he picked up the beads and started, sits down here and chanting. This is very good. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Sri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.